All right, fifth grade. So, last week I missed a lesson about introduction to perimeter and just jumped right into the perimeter of a square. Now I know that you guys know what you're doing with the perimeter because you did a speed drill or something on it already. I didn't realize when I typed it in, I think I typed it like a week ahead of time, and I forgot that you hadn't learned it yet. So, but you did great on it. You got them right. Yay! So just a quick introduction to perimeter, and then we're going to go on to the next lesson. You do not need your books yet. You will at the end of the video. So if you want to go ahead and get those ready and then listen. So let's do the introduction now. What the perimeter is it's the area, it's the distance around a polygon, okay? A polygon is a closed shape, remember? So a triangle, rectangle, those are polygons. They're shapes that are closed or straight lines. So the perimeter is straight lines connected by straight lines. Got it? Okay, that's a polygon. The perimeter is the distance around, okay? Pretend it's like a fence, okay? If you're building a garden, if you're putting a garden into your yard, the perimeter is what would be the fence enclosing the garden. Or think about the cage in the parking lot. The perimeter of that area, that section of the parking lot, the basketball court, would be the fencing, okay? It's just the area around. So you have a couple different formulas you're going to use for different types of polygons, different types of shapes, but as long as you know that it's the area around, you are going to be good to go. So first of all, the triangle is super easy for the perimeter because it gives it, now in geometry, your sides of shapes and polygons are all going to have some sort of label. Usually it will start with A. It'll be side A, B, C, D. It's going to go like that, okay? So that's what those are called. They're actually called variables, so that's a little fun fact for you that you'll be ready for 6th grade with. So they're telling us the perimeter of a triangle is just A plus B plus C. So now if C is 4 and B is 3, A is going to be 2.5 inches. Let's say inches. I don't know if that's wide enough for you to see. Okay, so if those are the widths, we're just going to plug them into our formula here. So A is 2.5 plus B is 3 inches plus C is 4 inches long, side C. So our perimeter is 2.5 plus 3 plus 4, so that's 9.5 inches around the entire triangle. Now, whenever you're doing perimeter, you have to include the measurements. If it's in inches, you have to tell me that that's the answer in inches because we are actually today going to get into converting, and I need to know if you're doing it by the right measurement. It has to be inches. Imagine if somebody gave you the plans to build a garden in your yard. If your dad gave you the distance and he didn't tell you he wanted it in feet and you just planted a little 12-inch, which is a 1 foot wide instead of a 12-foot perimeter, you need to know what measurement it is, okay? Actually, I'm going to take points if there's not the correct label of the measurement. Got it? You got to do it. It's going to save you a lot of heartache from here on out. Okay? So that's the perimeter of the triangle. Really easy. All 3 sides just added together. Now, the rectangle, you can do this, or the square, you can do the same thing. You can just add all of these together. But there's a quicker way to do it, and it's my favorite way. So whenever you're working with a rectangle, the length is the horizontal part, okay? And the width is the vertical. Okay, length, width. Your width is going to be by a W. It's just going to be a lowercase w to say width in your measurements and formula, and your length is going to be an L. When I write it on the board, I'm going to do a cursive L so that you see the difference. I'm going to zoom that in a little bit so you can see the difference between that and a 1. Okay, the formula for a rectangle perimeter is, now these are all rectangle, remember, 90 degrees angles, which means that these sides are the same and these sides are the same. Okay, so if this is 4 meters down here, this is going to be 4 meters. Okay, if this is 3 meters over here, this is going to be 3 meters. Okay, that's just common knowledge, okay, because these lines are equal and these lines are equal. So instead of doing 4 plus 3 plus 4 plus 3, what we're going to do, and I do this in my head a lot in the simple ones, okay, our formula is just the parentheses here, just separate it, okay, but do it because you're going to need it later on. Your perimeter of a rectangle is going to be 2 times the length, which our length is what? 4. So 2 times 4, because we're doing it 1, 2 times, plus, I'm getting really sloppy, plus 2 times the width, because we're adding 1, 2, we're adding the width 3 times, which is 3. Okay, so we're just going to solve it, 1 parenthesis bubble at a time. Perimeter equals 2 times 4 is 8, plus 6. Our perimeter is 14. 14 what? 14 meters. Do not forget that. Okay, so it's pretty basic. I'm going to move the camera over here because we're going to get a little bit harder and a little more complicated. Sometimes you're going to have to convert measurements in your head or as you go when you're solving for the perimeter. So this one, our length is 5 feet and our width is 3 foot and 6 inches. Now there's 2 different measurements, 2 different units. We need to get them all to the same, and the goal for doing this, converting the measurements in your perimeter, is finding the easiest way possible. Now we can either do we can do 3 feet into inches, which would be 3 times 12 is 36, plus 6 is 42, and then we can convert 5 feet into inches, or we know that 6 inches is exactly a half a foot. So we can just say 3 1/2 foot, or feet, right? Okay, so that's going to be your easiest on this one. So let's plug it into our perimeter equation, which is 2 times the length plus 2 times the width. Okay, can you see that all good? So for this rectangle, our length is the horizontal, so it's 2 times 5 plus 2 times our width is 3 1/2. Okay, so far so good. So let's keep solving. P equals 2 times 5 is 10 plus what's 2 times 3 1/2. Now you can either do your whole, if we make 3 1/2 into an improper fraction, that would be 6, 7 over 2 times 2, which would be 2 over 1. We can cancel those out. Our number is going to be 7. Okay, so you can do that. Or you can think about, the halves are really easy to just think about and do in your head if you're not so sure already, because 2 halves equals a whole. So for multiplying a half times 2, it's going to equal 1 whole. If I have 6 inches here and 6 inches here, it's going to equal a whole foot, right? Okay, so I'm already multiplying it by 2, so I have the 1, and then I can just do, if it's 3 1/2, like it is here, okay, 3 times 2 is 6, add the multiplied half, so 6 plus 1 is 7, okay, so you can just kind of do that in your head. So I have 10 plus 7, which our perimeter is then 17. 17 what? We're working with feet. We converted this into feet, okay? Our perimeter is 17 feet. Okay, now I'm on your book. We're going to do one problem together on page number 255. So go ahead and open up to page 255 with a pencil, pause, go. Okay, 255. We are actually doing number 1, letter B, okay? I want to do letter B with you because letter A deals with what we just practiced, so I want to do letter B with you. We have 2 yards and 1 foot by 3 yards. So what that means is, if you were to sketch this out, it would be 3 yards here and then 2 yards 1 foot. Okay, so are we going to convert everything to feet? Is that easier, or is it easier to take this foot and use it as like a remainder fraction? That's going to be your easiest shot, because you know a foot is, or a yard is how many feet? 3, right? So 1 foot is what? 1/3 of a yard, okay? So we're going to convert this to, I'm just writing it here because I'm running out of room, 2 1/3, right? 2 1/3. So let's plug it into our equation, which I drew this upside down. I'm going to redo that so I don't make you crazy. Let's make this one longer. Okay, 3, and then this is 2 1/2, or 2 1/3. Sorry, 2 1/3. So P equals, now I want you to write out the equation every single time so that you get it into your memory, okay? Start by writing the equation. P equals 2 times L plus 2 times W, okay? I want you to write this in your book. Write this in your book. Write this in your book, okay? Also make note that you are changing this, whether you write it above or below, so that you remember what you're converting this part into, okay? So we have P equals 2 times L. So that is, just carry your letters down every single time. If you get into the habit of how I'm doing this and don't make shortcuts, your life is going to be so much easier for all 4 years of algebra in high school. I promise. Write it down every single time, okay? So write the P equals, parentheses, 2, write it out, do the work. 2 times 2 1/3 plus 2 times, what's our width? 3. Okay, now let's actually do the math on the 2 1/3. So 3 times 2 is 6 plus, I'm making it into an improper fraction, sorry. 3 times 2 is 6 plus 1 is 7 over 3, okay? And then I'm doing 2 times 2, which a whole number into a fraction would be 2 over 1. Okay, I can't cancel out, so I'm going 14 divided by 3. Now do the simple division in your head. Okay, it's just like what we do. 3 goes into 14. How many times? It goes into a 4. That's 12. Okay, 4 times 3 is 12, which means 14 minus 12 is 2, so that's going to be our remainder. Okay, so 2 times 2 1/3 is P equals 4 2/3 plus 2 times 3 is 6. Okay, carry your P. 4 2/3 plus 6 equals, just add the whole numbers, 10, and keep your fraction, 2/3. Okay, 10 2/3 what? Did we convert to feet or to yards? We converted to yards. That's why it's important to label. Okay, there you go. That's your answer. Let me know if this is really difficult, okay? Because it's kind of something new, but I think that it's like putting a puzzle together, so I think you guys are going to be fine. We'll keep practicing. Do your homework. Do your homework. That'll help you practice. Okay.